540306, the unconditional covenant that God made with his people. Phoenix, Arizona, USA. Good evening, friends. It's indeed a great privilege to be in the midst of such a fine group of people on this Saturday night. I was thinking, as Brother Sharit was bringing me down tonight, of how many places that people are in evil places of drinking and carrying on tonight. But it goes to show that God has people everywhere. They crowd out to hear the gospel of Jesus Christ, their love. I'm so thankful for you, and I'm here tonight to try to help you to have a solid faith in Jesus Christ by the gift of the divine, a gift coming from God, which was given to me by, altered by grace, the Lord, to manifest Jesus Christ to you in his love. That's why I'm here tonight, to help you to believe on him. Now the brethren was telling me, said, be sure to remember the handkerchiefs each night, to pray over the handkerchiefs. That's a great ministry of its own, praying over handkerchief. I send, I guess, around 1,000 a week in different parts of the world. Certainly have great results. Thousands and thousands of healings come from laying on of cloths. It's just a scripture as a laying on hands. We send them all over the world. And now many ministers I know today, and are maybe some of them are setting present, has great audio broadcasts and so forth. And they say to people, write to me. We want to hear from you. It's to get your address, to mail, put mail to you, see? Now, or mail you. But friends, I'm not saying this for that. It's hard for me to get letters to the people, you see? But if you need a prayer cloth and you don't get it here, just write me at my home address and I'll send it to you. And I'll assure you won't be plagued with cards and mail too, because I don't have a broadcast to support. I work real closely. I don't have any great thing expensive. I don't get big expensive buildings. I try to keep the work just as humble, just as cheap. I don't try to go to big places, and I just try to be just like the people that comes to me. See, of course, if we sell it out in great big advertisements for a year ahead of time and get every church in the country and all, and swear up and down we wouldn't come, and as everybody would cooperate, we'll probably start off with 10,000 people or more, 15. But I can't do mine that way. I have to do just as it tells me. And if he says go down here, there's 4 or 5 down here, I just go as soon go. I'd rather go to 4 or 5 knowing he sent me there than to go to 100,000 knowing that he didn't send me there. See, and my congregations and so forth is not as strong or as many of the brothers are who are in the field today. But I don't have the advertisement out like the rest of the brothers do. Another thing, I don't have the cooperation as other brothers do. And because I'm interdenominational and I have no church to back me up, just the friends of Jesus Christ is all I have. That's all I have. And here some time ago, a very famous evangelist in the nation who attracts literally tens of thousands to his meeting, one of my co-workers was standing talking to him. He said, so that I won't go to a city less, all the radius around, and every church will close and have the meetings you take. If a man would come to Louisville, Kentucky, there's 400 Baptist churches alone in Louisville. 400 churches, and it's not a Baptist town. Asbury College is just beyond me. It's a Methodist town, but there's 400 big Baptist churches in the city of Louisville. There's probably 500 or 600 Methodist churches besides Presbyterian and all the rest of them. You get a group like that together, you got some people to start with, but no disregards, that's politics. I'd rather go just where God will tell me to go. If I had to see one person, Philip was having a big revival down to Samaria, and the Lord called him out of that and sent him over to the desert to find one man, and a colored man, an Ethiopian, and he obeyed the Lord. And that's the way that I think we should do it, just wherever the Lord leads. Now, maybe the Lord leads people in other ways, but now I was here recently, right, in a great revival where thousands of people were gathered in. Many of you, maybe some of you was here, down here in vacation now. It was a Kellogg Auditorium it's up in Michigan there, some Battle Creek in Battle Creek, Michigan. Was anybody there at the meeting that time? Yes, up at Battle Creek, Michigan, where yes, there was someone was at that meeting. And right when the place was packed and jammed out with people, I pulled out to a lake one afternoon, Idle Lake, about half mile around it, and was back there praying, down in a bunch of bushes. I had something going pat, 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 pat. I looked up and I just went out. Was sitting on a boat going down along the seashore. And the angel of the Lord came near and said, close the meeting now. 8 more days yet to go yet, but close the meeting now and turn aside to Annapolis at once. Well, I went in and told the manager. He wouldn't believe it. He said, you tell the ministers. I said, God knows how I love ministers. They're the shepherds of the flock. But there's a master of all of us. I must listen to him. I got in trouble over that one time in Africa. You're acquainted with the story, perhaps. I said, no, I must go. Brother Baxter said, Brother Branham, you tell the ministers. I said, well, you just get them up here. So I told them, and they kind of felt ill towards me. They said, the Lord told us to make this for 2 weeks. I said, but the Lord told me to go somewhere else, see? And I said, what the Lord told you, that's all right. But what he told me, I'll do. So I turned aside right there. Mr. Baxter said, well, I'll do it. We'll go the end of this week. I said, when going right now. And now, if you want to know the results and what come out, you just write Reverend Gordon Peterson at Minneapolis, Minnesota, and find out why it was. If one took a hold of the phone, if it had been 5 minutes later, yes, 2 minutes later, there'd been something happened in Minneapolis would have changed the history of the Pentecostal church in Minneapolis. And I knew nothing about it until I got over there. And the Lord revealed it. Go fast. He will tell you after you get there. Just arise and go. And so you must follow the leading of the Lord. So now, maybe the Lord tells people to go set their meetings and have these. That's all right. If He does that, just so you are minding the Lord is the main thing. Everybody has things to do differently. Now remember, tomorrow afternoon, the Lord willing, we want to speak tomorrow afternoon on fundamentalism versus full gospel. And come out as many as can. And it's a preaching service. And I spoke on this once before at a convention. And I was asked to do it again, if the Lord willing. I don't know. But if He will. And then tomorrow evening is the last service of the Phoenix campaign. And you come early. I'll try to let you out early so you can get back. As I come on down there, Billy was standing down there, say, Daddy, when they start singing and everything, it's hard to give the people their cards. Them's one will be over here, call, and one over here, said, tell them to come early. About 5:30, 6 o'clock, get your sick out here so they can get their prayer cards at 5:30, if the Lord willing. He and the brethren will be giving out prayer cards here at 5:30 tomorrow afternoon, from 5:30 till about 6:30 or 6 o'clock or somewhere along there till they get the prayer cards given out. So be sure to remember that. And now, let's put our every effort tomorrow afternoon. I believe they announced it that it was a missionary offering tomorrow afternoon. I never have anything to do with the money. There's been 3 things that I've tried to keep away from all of my life, and that's one thing is money. That's one of the things that ruins a minister is money. When you get your eyes on money, you got it off of God. That's right. Brother Moore here and Brother Brown has been with me all along, and if I ever heard of anybody in my meeting ever making one pull or strain for any money or anything, just pass a collection plate. When the Lord won't supply my needs, then it's time for me to go home. But the Lord will supply, and if I can't trust Him for money, how can I trust Him for healing? How can I trust Him for anything else? See, I've got to trust Him. And so we just pass the collection plate, and if we don't get enough money to pay, then at the end of the service, when my campaign is over, they take up a love offering. I'm sorry they have to do that. If I had any other way of making a living, I wouldn't permit it. But I've got 3 children and a wife and a lot of expenses. My expenses run me about $100 a day, whether I'm preaching or whether I'm not. So it's my office affair at Jeffersonville. Several work in the office, and letters and stamps and so forth runs me about $100 a day. And some of the brethren, I suppose I was hearing Mr. Billy Graham, just on his broadcast alone is $1,000 a minute. That's for broadcast. How about the rest of the campaign and the television? I wonder how much it costs to run that campaign. But if somebody would happen to say, well, you watch these fellows come in preaching divine healing, they're just taking the money from the people. What about that? See, what's good for the goose is for the gander. So that's just right. So look at that, 1,000 a minute for just a broadcast. See? All right, that's perfectly all right. No criticism to that. Understand, not a bit. The man needs it. God bless those who are helping him to do it. But just have to look at both sides of it. As a man was said, that was very good, but there's some more to it, you see. So that is right. Now, then they take up a love offering, and if for me, at the last night of the service, and then if there's not enough money has come in to pay the campaign free, then I take my love offering and pay that, and not ask the people the love offering does that. I never asked one of the managers